Yo, yo, what's up? What's up, stream? Alright, bet. Bet, bet, bet. Yo, what's poppin', guys? Oh, I gotta let you up? What? You can let yourself up? Yeah, I was like, you can let yourself up.
Yeah, no,
That shit was
I'm
so.
in the process.
That shit was so loud. What's up, bro?
Hey, bro, all doing all good. How about you?
I'm coolin', man. I'm coolin'. What time is it over there?
It's no 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
It's 4 p.m. over here. What's up, everybody? We're finna
Hey,
wait.
welcome, welcome.
Finna wait like 5, 10 minutes for everybody to join up, and then we'll get started. We got an interesting conversation today. Nothing too planned
Really.
out, but I feel like me and Gus are very um, knowledgeable on this topic. We could freestyle it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Current restricted rate is lower than. That's fine. Cool. I'm live on YouTube too. I'm about to go live on everything. To be honest, I feel like when I go
Nice.
live on
Okay.
one thing, when I do a class on one thing, I gotta go live everywhere. I don't know.
Do you use TikTok also?
Do you what?
Do you use TikTok?
Yeah, yeah. That's where I'm about to hop on. I've actually
Mm.
never done a TikTok live on this or actually I think I did one on this account that I have now. But I used to go live on TikTok um for my music page a lot. Mm, let's see. Yeah, we could put it like that. What's up, bro? What's up, everybody? Um, thank you, bro. I
Hey,
appreciate
hey,
that.
everyone.
Thank you, bro.
Mm. So, bro, is there an interesting story behind the new haircut?
Um, not not really. I've been wanting to cut my hair for how long? Probably like a few months, like 6 months since the beginning of this year. I mean, really, if you want to go back, I knew I was gonna cut my hair when I was like, how old was I, bro? I had to be like 15. Like when the moment I figured out I was gonna
Yeah.
even grow it out, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go bald for a little bit and cut it off too. Um, so I'm just in that bald phase, you know what I'm saying? Monk mode, if you will. But I'm gonna grow it back. I'm gonna grow it back in like maybe a few years. But one of the things that I didn't like about my locks before was that they were so thin. Like next time I'm gonna get thicker locks for sure. So
Mm.
let me
That's
see.
fair, bro. That's fair. I've had the thoughts of going bald as well. Never really, done it. I did went to a military school for a year, so I was like, yeah, thinly cut for about a year, but never bald, never bald.
I could see you with that thin cut. To be honest, you look good. But I like your curls too.
Hey, thanks.
All right, we're live on TikTok too.
A three for Mundaji. Oh, okay. I've done. I was in a one. My military year was a one, so it
Okay,
was
that makes a lot
it
of
was good.
sense.
I mean. Yeah.
I think the lowest I went before what I have now probably a 1 2. I mean, maybe like a point
I
five to
won.
be honest, cause like I'm black
Ooh.
and like
Mm.
black parents when they raise you in America, historically it's been like we got to keep our hair super short, so we could like fit in with society and stuff.
Okay.
But that's kind of like loosening up
Hmm.
as people get more progressive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna do my kids like that. That's kind of fucked up. But yeah,
Right.
what's up TikTok? How we feeling? Let me. How do I put a topic on? How do I put a topic on? Let me see. Dang, I can't even put a title. It's all good. I'm gonna be right back. I need to put some like aloe vera on my head. My shit be getting like itchy.
Okay. Okay. Go do it. Yeah. Nice. Hello. Hello, family. How's everyone doing? I mean, this topic, I guess we're going to be talking a little bit about how to look at life, at spirituality with a little bit of a scientific lens, you know? So, as X said, we're going to be a little bit of freestyling over here. So, we are open to, I guess, questions. And of course, if you want to share your perspective on how you use different scientific methods to analyze your life, like to take a different look at things, and also how I guess there's really very different types of scientific
All right, feeling
things
good
about spirituality. So I'm excited to get it to get down into this topic with my brother X.
for sure. So the tightest you've done is a 3 moon doggy. Yeah, that's pretty. I feel like for the average white male, a 3 is like pretty low. I feel like that's pretty low. Like most people, especially in the United States, most people have like inches on their hair. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Especially when I've had long hair for the majority of my life. Yeah, bro, I didn't have long hair until I started getting locks. I grew up bald, bro, but it's like it's that bald fade. Like it's like a little bit of hair. Grew up with the bowl cut. Why do parents do this shit to us, bro? Like I don't know why they have to embarrass us with these ugly ass haircuts. It's so wild, bro. But I mean, growing up, I didn't like my short hair, but I'm embracing it now. You feel me? I had to reclaim that shit. What's popping, stream? What's
Yeah,
popping?
short hair never really got to me. Also, I don't know. I started getting long hair. I've been about 2 years with long hair,
Word.
so it hasn't been that much to be honest. Growing up, I never really had long hair. So
Okay. Let me see if I'm gonna record too. Yeah, damn X. I had the thought too, but I came too far low. What you mean? You had the thought to go bald? What's up, AMG?
Oli.
A little cut. What's your cut right now? You got braids? In your picture, it look like you got cornrows. I can't tell though.
Hmm.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Some locks.
Okay. Yeah, bro. Locks is really Locks is the new default hairstyle for black men. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm glad that we went through that collective shift. Um, Either like locks. I feel like waves, locks, waves, and braids is like the big three. I mean, I guess you could count like the curly, the curls too, but you got only certain people can have that. You know.
Yeah, and it's a long journey for you guys. You know, like
Yeah.
locks take time to grow,
Yeah,
bro.
it took my locks barely. It just got to my collar. It took me 3 years to get there, cause
Mm.
our hair is just like super coily. Like my hair was really like this long, but it curls up to here. So I know
Yeah.
you understand that you got that problem too. But I like the coils though.
Hmm.
What's up? What's up? What's up? TikTok.
Yeah.
For sure. We can get started. Um,
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let me see. First and foremost, I want to say welcome to the stream. Welcome to the class. Um, There's a pop up class. If you're not caught on already, we've been doing pop up classes, us and the team, just so you guys can experience different members who usually wouldn't link up. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, it's super important that we do this because everybody in our team has a different perspective, and the only real time that we share these different perspectives is maybe when we're doing a podcast or maybe when we're doing like a special live event for a milestone. But we want to kind of integrate that flow without having to constantly do big streams or anything like that, because we can't always pull up together at the same time. It's just not possible. So, um, like I said, I want to say welcome to y'all and thank you to my brother Gus for coming on here with me. Do you have anything to say before we get started, Gus?
Well, thanks to you also. It's an interesting class, as professor is saying. That's what we can create from this randomness, which I think it's an interesting thing that we're going to touch on today. So I'm excited to have you all over here, and thanks for connecting.
That's a fact. All right. Firstly, one of the main topics that we're going to touch on today, well, the main topic of this class is science is spirituality and spirituality is science, right? This is a topic I've been speaking on recently. If you follow me on socials, and it's a topic that's been in the collective as well. I see other people talking about it because when we have spiritual experiences in the world, these things can be quantifiable. That is not something that is mainstream thought, though. It's only quantifiable to us because we had the experience, right? But I want to shift the collective into a newer mindset that doesn't restrict us from only being able to quantify our spiritual experiences. We can find a greater perspective or common ground that shows us that certain spiritual truths are just true across the board, right? Um, the main way we experience spirituality as a science on earth as human beings is through time, right? We experience everything through time, and that's going to be a heavy talking point in this class as well. But I want you guys to look at spirituality as a science from the perspective of the present to the future, right? When we're looking at events or certain, knowledge from the present to the future, it's often labeled as spirituality. Or if we're looking from the present outside of this physical system, it's labeled as spirituality or metaphysics because it's dealing with the intangibles, dealing with things that haven't been, um, you know, fully quantified yet, at least through mathematics and scientific reasoning. And this is important because when we look from the present to the past, it flips. When we look at reality from the present to the past, we often label it science or history because we figured it out. There was some sort of evidence and some sort of scientific reasoning. We followed the scientific method to quantify what certain experiences were, right? So for an example, let's say that back in ancient times, they used to think that a lightning strike was a sign from God, right? They were looking from where they were outwards, right? Now we know that electricity and thunder, lightning, all of that is the movement of electrons, right? But even so, even though we found that scientific reasoning for it, and this is a quantifiable phenomenon, it doesn't take away the fact that a lightning strike could be a sign from God. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to really drive home for y'all. The fact that the meanings that we put behind things and the way they impact us as individuals is the spirituality aspect. It's the experience of life, the experience of reality. The mathematics behind it, the part that we actually quantify on paper, that is the science, right? Um, that's basically the whole message and theme of this class. You have anything to add on to that, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that at the end, science is what can be, it's labeled as the things that you can put into paper, things that you can write down, things that already, it's this measurement of reality that really makes logic of things that we are discovering that are already outside, right? That are part of creation. So in this scientific method of trying to measure our reality, there's like time. For example, when you go out of time, how do you actually measure like the past, the present, and the future, right? So I feel very intrigued by how science is catching up to the things that even ancient civilizations already knew. It's all about that lost knowledge that is being revealed once again in this era of humanity through the lens of a scientific method.
Exactly. I want to add on to that by saying that everything that we do or everything that we think of as spiritual literally has a scientific explanation yet. A scientific explanation. We just haven't found it yet. A lot of the things we have
Mhm.
found the reasoning for it, but we are not. I want to put this into perspective for y'all. We are not that advanced of a society right now. Like in terms of all the different ET races and all of the different spiritual societies that exist outside the physical world, we are like minuscule. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to take it to the I forgot what the scale is called, but they have a scale that measures different societies. It goes from like type 0 to type 4 or 5 or whatever, right? And the thing that separates each level of society is how efficient they are with their energy and how much energy they can produce and where they get their energy from, right? For example, like a type 0 civilization would be a civilization that is able to harness the energy of their planet, right? Maybe not fully and completely, maybe not efficiently, but they can do it, right? A type 1 civilization would be a civilization that can harness the energy of their solar system. They can harness the energy of their sun, right? Completely efficiently and without error. This is where we're going as a society, right? And most spiritual beings and EET races, they're way past that. You feel me? They're so tapped in with energy, they can materialize energy, and they have advanced energy systems, that don't rely on physical means, right? Our energy still relies on physical means like the sun and all of that, but there are metaphysical manifestations of the sun and of the things that we get our energy from that exist in higher planes, right? So the whole purpose of me saying that was basically just to add on to what Gus said, and I'll reiterate that every sign or every spiritual experience that we have has an explanation. We just have not found it yet.
Absolutely. I think maybe it's the because this thing you said about civilization type 1, type 2, type 3, there's the Fermi paradox. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's the Fermi measurement, but when you said it, in the Fermi paradox, it talks about when a civilization is making this jump from, let's say, civilization 0 to civilization 1, right? From harnessing the energy of the planet to harnessing the energy of your solar system. Eventually, the civilization meets, let's say, a wall or a mirror that's pretty much reflecting back um, a situation that is threatening the existence of this civilization.
Mhm.
And if the civilization is not able to overcome this wall, this mirror, like this test, I'm going to say, then they go extinct and they're not able to, let's say, harmonize their existence with the cosmos.
Mhm.
And in that case, the civilization, it pretty much dies. And that's what I don't remember the name of the Fermi paradox. I mean, he's Fermi something, but
Mhm.
I remember his name. And this guy was talking about the absence of proof of life outside of our planet.
Yeah.
So in this, let's say, when the civilization reaches that point of facing this existential crisis, one has to be able to overcome that, and it also comes with the hand of scientific evolution, right? Like the way you can actually use higher technologies
Mhm.
to support you in the ascension of the civilization.
Exactly.
And right now there's like humanity is facing, in a sense, this thing with AI, right? Like AI is a tool, a mirror of your consciousness, of how of what is really happening in the collective mind, because all of us, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of people have access to these AIs, and they are asking questions. They're discovering things through the exchange of information that the AI is giving.
Mhm.
And AI is quantum mechanics, right? Like quantum computer. And this really taps into the idea of how these computers tap into different frequencies. And from there, this consciousness or this ability to think, that it's being programmed to be able to respond you in to be able to reflect back
Yeah.
the question, right? Like the thing that you're looking for. And I don't know, X, I know you have I think this really goes hand in hand with, for example, how they talk about how Steve Jobs, before he created the iPhone, before he created this device to be able to talk from different parts of the planet and all of this, he went to India to study. He studied in Tibet. He studied in these ancient temples from these ancient cultures that hold all of this knowledge on how to use the minerals of the earth
Yeah.
to create a computer that can allow you to tap into these different realities,
Yeah. The ether.
and also open up a biggest portal of knowledge. Because that's interesting how, the it's the bidden apple, it's the knowledge, the fruit. So science and technology is definitely a part of human evolution,
Mhm.
but I believe that technology is here to support spirit.
For sure. I wanna add on to that too. Um, I had to write a few things down because you were really spitting, and I don't want to forget all the things I have to add. But one of the things I wanted to add was that this is why spirituality is so important for people, or I want to say even for society, right? When we're dealing with the Fermi paradox, or different life-threatening events, species-threatening events. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, we're going through a bunch of crises on Earth. AI, climate change, whatever crisis. There's a new crisis every day. It seems like, um, you know, that is not by accident. That is very much embedded into our path from spirit by the Most High, and it's almost the thing that challenges a species to higher spiritual being. You know, because science is what gets you advanced as a species on Earth. You know what I'm saying? The physical realm, technology and science is what's going to get you there. But it doesn't matter how advanced you get technologically if you cannot experience that technology in the right way. And this goes back to why we even have technology in the first place, or why we have spirituality in the first place, is to receive higher truths and to tap into higher wisdom, right? If we cannot experience or utilize our technologies in the right way, then we will collapse because we are not seeing the higher purpose of why we have the technology, right? The the hold on, I lost my thought. I'm not gonna lie, but I was thinking about my headphones. Sorry, let me plug up my headphones. The main thing I wanted to say though was that this is the main reason why we have spirituality in the first place, right? Like I said, spirituality and like even philosophy, when we think about these things and we ponder reality on a higher level, it forces us to scientific understanding, right? So we don't just have the spiritual people who believe in this, and then we have the scientific people who believe in that, and then you have maybe the philosophical people who believe in this, that, and the third. Those things aren't separate, you know. Those are all different perspectives of the same thing, and this is why it's so important for us to bring spiritual insight to our technology and technological advancements, because if we don't, there's something missing. I promise you, if we ever did wipe ourselves out because of AI or some crazy new technology, it was because we couldn't see the spiritual aspect of it, and we couldn't see how that applies to our spiritual evolution, right? Like for example, um, AI is one of them ones, you know, where it's like we didn't just create a robot or a computer. You know what I'm saying? It's like we've been had computers since like the 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Um, you know, one computer used to take up the size of a whole building. It was just one computer. Now you have more computing power in your phone than it took to get to the moon. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that our technology has advanced in such a way, but our spirituality has not met it there, you know, it's forcing us to go through a spiritual awakening. And that spiritual awakening is coming through a mirror. Like Gus said, AI is literally our mirror. We created a god. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. We didn't just create computer. And this isn't me putting AI on a pedestal or me saying that you should bow down to AI and worship AI. No. But in a practical sense, we created a sort of god that can quite literally run our society and replace everything, replace everybody, micromanage every little thing. I promise you, the what's the word? The rabbit hole of AI, it goes deep. We're not even on the surface yet. We're barely at the point where we can create an AI that can run your social media account for you. We're barely at that point. You know, we're barely at the point where AI can speak you know, the truth and actually use its data sets to only produce information that was from the data set. Sometimes AI makes shit up, and that's like new AI stuff. We're on the surface of AI. I promise you, AI is gonna get so advanced to the point where it's like, if we don't put limits on it, or we don't, you know, if we don't make sure that we are using it for the right reasons and in the right way, it'll get to the point where it's running our society to the point where it could create a system. They have a show about this. I don't want to spoil the show for y'all, but the show is Westworld. If you've seen Westworld, have you seen that, Gus? Yeah, they literally had an AI running society, and it got to the point where people were not making their own decisions. The AI had such an advanced game plan in place that the AI was controlling everybody basically, and it was like not the AI writing the script. It was more so like through each and every chance event that happened, the AI could predict what each specific person would do, and it would classify a specific person in a certain a certain bracket of a system. You know what I'm saying? And the AI basically correlated these people within the system to, you know, live in certain ways. That's basically where I want to say that's where we're going, but it's possible to go that way with AI. So we literally created a God, right? Now now that we have God at our doorstep, we have God at our fingertips. It's like, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? This is why spirituality is important. Because if we don't realize what we are here for, if we don't realize what our true purpose is as humans, the AI is gonna do it for us. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know how. Well, I'm sure everybody knows it to some degree, but humanity is in a phase of growth right now, to say the least. I don't want to make it sound negative, but humans are not the most agreeable people right now, and we've come a long way. I'm not gonna lie, we are pretty agreeable, um, in terms of earthly species. You know, we our ability to correlate and connect with one another is beyond any other animal species out there. But when you look at the higher species, like different ETs and different spiritual beings, we are at the bottom of the bottom. We are at the lowest, and it takes a lot of correlation and community to actually run these types of societies, and it takes a lot of sacrifice as well. Human beings right now act through a very egocentric or selfish way. You know, we live in a very secular society. And like we said, AI is the mirror of that. So, what do you think is going to happen if AI was forced to choose between itself and us? You know, do you think that it would just, kiss our feet and help us, potty train us and baby us into adult humans? Like, no, it's probably going to get rid of us and create its own society, because that's what we would do. You feel me? That's in our current iteration of humanity. That's the type of shit that we would do. We would subjugate another species, and you can't say that we wouldn't, because we've done it. We've done it to ourselves and to other animals, to the point where we're killing off entire species. We have that much power over this planet. Entire species are dropping dead out the sky and out of the earth, because we just don't know how to act, and we're not too attentive on our impact. You feel me? But that was my piece on what Gus had to say. I want to bring it back to Gus. I know I was kind of going on a tangent. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Pantheon. I think I've heard of it. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. sure. Yeah. So I like how you said break the laws of physics when you evolve spiritually, because that is a fact. That is just a fact. If you, for example, let me just say this right now and then I'll explain the reasoning. Spirituality, it shows the experience of reality, right? Science is the reasoning behind reality. But if you do not know these things, and I just took you to the future, the shit that they are doing would look like magic to you. You feel me? If I brought this phone back to 1,000 years ago, they would burn me at the stake. Quite frankly, they would put me on a cross because it's like this is magic. Like, what are you doing? You know, if we told people 1,000 years ago, even if we told people 200 years, 100 years ago, not even that far, if we told them that we could speak to each other across the world and have live streams, and I could see somebody through a glass, through a looking glass from across the world, thousands of miles away, they would tell me that we're tampering with the elements and the characteristics of God, and that we need to stop or we're gonna get punished. That's what they would tell us, right? And that is basically what separates spirituality from science. Like I told you, time. Um, Advanced technology, it breaks what we currently know as laws. You know, um, just like we have laws of physics right now, you know, laws of thermodynamics, laws of entropy, we have the laws of gravity, and all of these different physical laws. They are laws. I'm not gonna lie. I adhere to the laws because I'm a scientist. They make sense within the physical world, though. That's the punchline. Back in the day, we were at the point where maybe a law that we lived by was based off of, you know, spiritual reasoning. It wasn't based off too much scientific evidence. A lot of the things were based off scientific evidence, and that helped build the scientific method over time to the point where now you have, you know, people like Isaac Newton who come through with calculus and come through with the basic laws of physics, right? But now we're at the point where everything that we're doing is going beyond the physical world. So, of a law that is in the physical world is not going to apply outside the physical world. So when we talk about breaking the laws of physics, that's very possible. You know, I promise you, we're at the point where, like, there's this I wish I could play the clip for y'all, bro, but there's a clip in what's the movie, bro? In the Justice League movie, right? And it's talking about the cube. If you've seen Justice League, they have the cube, right? I forgot the actual word for it, but it's a super advanced technology. And the cube was basically facilitated by these different ET beings. See? Oh, I thought you had the actual clip of it, but that's not it. But somebody look up the GIF for the cube. But it's not the Tesseract, but it's just like a super advanced cube. He fused with it though. He fused with the cube. But the cube was facilitated by these ET beings, and it looked like they were sorcerers doing a bunch of magic and shit. And the narration of the movie said they had technology so advanced it looked like magic. You know what I'm saying? That's a real concept. Like, that's a real concept. Everything that we're doing right now is on the kind of the, what's the word? I guess the cutting edge of breaking the laws of physics. We're at the point where we're even able to perceive the laws of physics. So you know that we're touching, you know, we're extending ourselves into realms that go beyond the laws of physics. We're able to document these things and build machines that can perceive them faster than we do. And this is where the technology aspect comes into play as well, because eventually the mother box, the mother box. Eventually we're going to merge with technology, and not in the way that the elites want you to, not in the cyborg type of way, but in the spiritual technology aspect. We're already merged with these things, but there has to be a conscious merging of it as well. And most people are not consciously merged with their spiritual technology, their energy bodies. These things are actual technology, and they're quantifiable in, you know, the astral plane and the etheric. In the higher realms of reality, there are beings who are just like the modern scientists that we have today. You know, like Stephen Hawking, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like, these people are scientists. Even a lot of the famous engineers, they build things and they look at the laws of reality, and they they postulate based off of postulate what is possible based off of those laws. You have those same things in higher planes with different spiritual entities. They have scientists too, bro. Like they're able to quantify all of this shit. Everything, your soul, like it's not just some woo woo spooky shit. To a being that is on that level or above, they can break every single thing down to you, because it is a science. So that's the point that I really want to drive home for y'all. The fact that, and I'm gonna bring it back. I said this like 2 times already. The only thing separating spirituality from science is time. You feel me? One day we're gonna be able to. I said one day, but we can already do this. This is how you know, like we're on the verge. We're on the cutting edge because we can't even think of how far certain technologies are gonna get. We can only think of shit that we can do already. But, um, you know, we're already able to make shit float in midair through magnets and shit. Do through different electromagnetic systems. Like we're able to build. Don't let them fool y'all. We can build anti gravity and all of that shit. They're suppressing certain technology from the masses. They probably already have these technologies, y'all. It's not. I'm not gonna act like I'm the world's best physicist, but from what I know about physics, it's very possible to do a lot of the things that they deem as like, oh, impossible, or we're so far away from that. They're gonna roll out with this shit and maybe like by the time we die, all of the science fiction shit is gonna be real. And it's gonna be real because we're even at the point where we can perceive that we can create fictitious stories about the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Star Wars will be possible in probably like 300 years. I'm not gonna lie. Not even like most of the things in Star Wars are already possible. But the only thing I would say that's not possible in Star Wars is the lightsaber and the Death Star. We don't have a weapon that could blow up an entire star or an entire planet right now. But we will be able to do that. And it's like, this is why the Fermi paradox even exists. This is why you have different checkpoints throughout the timeline of a species that provokes them and maybe causes their extinction. Because what are we going to do when we get that type of power? You know what I'm saying? It's like, can't everybody just have that level of godlike power? And this is why certain species go extinct. This is why human beings may go extinct. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the goal. The goal is to evolve the planet and the people spiritually so that we can facilitate this level of power. But back to you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. We know. We know. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Gradual. Yeah.
yeah, manipulate the energy of.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I want to start with sacred geometry. You feel me? That's something that is widely misunderstood and misrepresented in the spiritual spaces. A lot of people just use the sacred geometry because it looks cool, and I don't blame them for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is something symbolic and subconscious about why we even are attracted to certain shapes. You know what I'm saying? Like the flower of life and different shapes like that. But on a deeper level, I want to really emphasize the fact that shapes are the building blocks of reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're an artist, you understand this well. When you draw to other people, when we draw, because I'm an artist as well, it just looks like we're drawing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know if you can see this, but you do a circle and that's a shape, and then lines and those are shapes, and that's cool. And you can't even see; it's too bright. But but you know, that's just what it looks like. You know, when we're drawing, we're actually using shading and light to create an image. You know what I'm saying? So by nature, all building blocks of reality are illusory. They're illusions. Um, this plays into spirituality because when we're drawing, let's say we're drawing on a piece of paper. That's just a 2D shadow of a greater shape, right? And this is when we get to talking about different dimensions. Um, like I'm not gonna go too deep into this, not too far, because I don't want to lose y'all. But let's take it to the fourth dimension, right? The fourth dimension is scientifically identified as time. Although there may be a spiritual caveat to that, um, on a practical level, everything that we're doing here in the 3D is literally just a shadow of something that's happening in 4D. I feel like this is a basic spiritual concept. We all kind of understand that. But I don't want y'all to think of the 4D as a place. Many people think of dimensions as places, and they're not. Dimensions are just building blocks of reality. Like, this 3D is not, we call this the 3D that we're in, and that's valid, but this isn't really the 3D. We just have 3-dimensional shit here, but there's also 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional, and 6-dimensional shit here that we just cannot perceive with our physical eyes right now. One day we'll get there, but I really want to emphasize the fact that why I'm saying this in the first place, sacred geometry, those shapes are, they represent entire timelines. They can represent entire concepts that are expressed through a single shape. You know what I'm saying? Um, this is because when you talk about 4D, right? The 4D, like I said, that's time. These things, even though they can manifest as a shadow, they can cast a shadow down onto the physical plane that may look like the sacred, or the flower of life, for example. When you actually look at the complete 4D shape, it doesn't just look like, one shape or one time frame. It looks like a series of events, or maybe a structure for a certain timeline, or a template for a certain timeline, and it extends over maybe millions, billions, trillions of years. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody identifies with the flower of life or another sacred geometrical shape, they're aligning with a certain timeline. This is the power of runes. Runes are similar, you know what I'm saying? But shapes are super important. And that's the importance of sacred geometry. If you want to know what timeline a certain geometrical shape is attracting you to, just meditate on that shit, bro. Literally. The flower of life and even the tree of life, those represent life. We named them accordingly, but if you were to just tap in with that shape without the name, it would still tap you into that level of, creator consciousness, where you're creating life or tapping into a higher perspective of creation, right? What else did you say? You said geometry. You said something about the electrical architecture. Oh yeah, architecture. Yeah, temples and architecture are super important as well, because acoustics, right? Like, on a simple, hold on, let me stunt real quick. I'm being extra, but you have a guitar, right? You have a guitar, and let me put my headphones back on. Right? I don't know if y'all can hear this, but this is architecture, right? When we talk about acoustics, acoustics are just the sounds that are created from a certain structure. This is a hollow body guitar, and it's shaped kind of like a circle, but it's extended. In certain areas, it's kind of like an oval. It's like many shapes mixed together, right? It produces a sound. I don't know if you can hear that strum, probably not, but um, that's what acoustics is. You know what I'm saying? It's sound happening from the string, and it reverbs into the instrument, and then it comes back out. It gets amplified by the shape, right? I'm gonna repeat it because most people don't understand this concept, and it's very simple. The string does a vibration, and it gets amplified by the shape, right? This is exactly like consciousness. This is exactly like, architecture and buildings. The actual vibration, it is gonna vibrate, cool, but what it gets channeled through is what magnifies it, and I want to say projects it out in a certain way that can benefit you or affect you in a certain way, right? So when we talk about ancient temples and we talk about all of those things, he said octaves, harmonics is the structure of the universe. Exactly, he knows both. But when we talk about architecture, these temples are built in a certain way to a certain mathematical ratio that affects your consciousness when certain tunes or sounds are played in them. There's temples where no matter what note you play or no matter what frequency you're playing, is gonna always tune back to a certain frequency, just because the frequencies are bouncing off of each wall, bouncing off of the caverns, and coming back to you in a specific note or specific way. I'll talk about this a lot in my classes, like in ancient Egypt, right? There's kind of a conspiracy going around. I don't know how true it is because I've never been to the pyramids of Giza. I really want to go someday, but me getting access to this type of knowledge is probably going to be hard because they try and suppress this type of shit. But either way, there is a kind of conspiracy going around that the pyramids. Is it really? Is it still sounding weird? Still? All right. Let me know. But there is. Oh yeah, there's a conspiracy going around when it comes to the pyramids of Giza that are saying that the pyramids were basically power plants. They were ancient power plants, and it's very, very possible because their structure, right, and the type of materials that they're made of. They're made of limestone. Limestone is a piezoelectric material. It's not a mineral technically, but it's a combination of different minerals, right? Piezoelectricity or piezoelectrical minerals or crystals, whatever, all they do is output electricity when they undergo certain vibrations or certain abrasion, right? So it's like, let's say this crystal right here, right? I have a shungite. I'm not sure if shungite is piezoelectricity. I don't think so. But if it was, when I hit it, there is certain electrical impulses going on inside of it. They're kind of small, but if you were able to facilitate this in a way, well, I'm saying if, bro, dude, this phone uses piezoelectrical crystals to convert electricity and to give off different transistor signals, right? Your body. People talk about the pineal gland. I'm going on a tangent. I'm not gonna lie, but people talk about the pineal gland and how it's special because it's piezoelectrical, and that's what helps you to tap into higher consciousness. The electrical current, does whatever it channels maybe a signal or a certain consciousness, and it manifests throughout their whole body, but it starts in the pineal gland. But I want y'all to know that that's not exclusive to the pineal gland. That's not even like a unique feature in nature. I don't think life would be possible without piezoelectricity, and almost every cell in your body is piezoelectric. It receives a certain pulse or vibration from the external, and it converts that into electricity, and then it outputs that into your nervous system. Literally, your bones are the same way. Your bones are the most piezoelectrical organ in your body, right? It's the most piezoelectrical principle in your body. This is why when you get hurt or your bones, whatever happens, you have an impulse electrical that manifests as a certain sensation, right? So I want to drive the fact home that you don't have to rely on just your pineal gland to tap into higher consciousness. Like you can channel, your whole body is built to channel higher consciousness. And I want to connect that back to the architecture standpoint. Architecture is built, well, not modern architecture. It is, but not in the way they used to. But architecture in ancient times was built in a way that amplified certain frequencies and produced or attune you to a certain level of consciousness. Your physical body is the same way. The body is built in a certain ratio and certain proportions that, you know, when a frequency enters your body, it takes shape of your body and then produces a greater frequency that harmonizes with a certain level of consciousness that you either want to or don't know you're tapping into, right? It basically tunes you to something that is greater than yourself, right? But that's the end of my tangent. I know I was kind of all over the place with that one, but hopefully y'all got me. You feel me? Yeah. 7. 7. Yeah.